What's up, everybody? This is Jordan with iProv, a VP of Sales and Marketing, here for another installation of the iProv blog. I've got a couple people with me. First one, you guys know really well, Patrick Laughlin, CEO of iProv. What's up, Pat?
What's up, Joe? How are you today?
I'm good. Happy Wednesday. Almost there. Halfway through it.
Yeah, man. It's the only one we get. That's what you keep telling us.
Only Wednesday we got this week. Hey, we've got another special guest. So if you guys were here for the Monday installment, you'll see this face as familiar as well, which is Jake. What's up, Jake?
Jordan, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Man,
Jake's our social media director, and we are, what are we calling this? Young People's Week? What is it?
Youth Week.
Youth Week, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's like summer camp. Yeah.
So, because Pat and I are not young anymore, we decided to bring in a young person to help us talk about this.
Yeah, Jake doesn't realize it, but by the time you're 40 in the advertising business, you might as well be 100 in real people years. Yeah.
I mean, the hair's short, so you can't see all the gray right now. But last time, we talked a little bit about kind of buying habits and what, if you're an organization that targets younger people as far as for them to buy your product or services, kind of some different things to think about as far as messaging. Today, we want to talk about those individuals when it comes to the workplace. So just like Pat said, once you turn 40, you're a dinosaur in our business, which means we are used to being the oldest guys in the room. And eventually we're going to be so old that people are going to look at us and say, you don't know anything about marketing, right? That's too old. So,
Yeah, and here's what's funny. It's like, David Ogilvy in his sort of seminal work in the 60s was like, if you want to be in account service, you got to be over 30, or you have to go bald in your 20s, or prematurely gray, because nobody's going to trust anybody under 30. And now you're the old guy in the room, and everybody in the room wants to talk to the young guys like Jake, because they think that, and rightly so, they understand how these platforms work. Honestly, my favorite part about working with young people is they do bring such an energy and enthusiasm to the work. That a lot of times the older folks don't. So
well, especially if you motivate them properly. So keeping with that thing of kind of young people bring their time, talent, and treasure to where their hearts are, we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to those organizations and just giving maybe some ways or some thoughts that Jake has on different ways to motivate a young workforce. So Jake, I want to kick it over to you. Kind of what are you hearing about from your friends or even yourself? What kind of motivates you day in and day out?
So I think that using iProv is a great example. And when I interviewed with Pat, it was one of the questions was like, what's the draw? And I mean, other than like the company itself, the core values was like what drew me to iProv. And I think that was like what motivated me to want to leave the position I was in. It wanted me to make a change and kind of sometimes I get really hesitant about change because it's scary overall. So, but no, I think that was the thing, is that I had a great idea of the environment that you guys had. I had a great idea of the work that you guys did, and your core values explained to me like what you wanted the company culture to be. And so I think a lot of my friends, they work for, I have a lot of friends that work for nonprofits. I have a lot of friends that are driven, work in healthcare, that are driven by, meeting needs. That way, a lot of RNs in my life. And then I also have friends that are artists, that they have what they call like pay the bill jobs. And so they are, administrative assistants or clerks or cashiers or whatever, but their main, passion and focus in life is they go on tours for shows, or they do community theater, or they teach classes at the art center or something like that. So I kind of have a different variety of friends, but a lot of them are driven, it seems, by either the culture or the purpose of the job.
Oh, it's either mission or it's the people.
Yes, yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So outside of money, Jake, and I mean, obviously everybody's got bills to pay and everybody wants to be successful in their career from a monetary standpoint. What are some things that are important to you and the people sort of, even younger than you, that about that they're looking for outside of, is it perks? Is it the friends that they make, or is it just the chance to experiment and try new things?
I think that one of the perks that I really looked for, and that also when I've been like interviewing, or we interviewed a few for, we had an intern position on Facebook, and a lot of the feedback that I heard was continuing education, and that's really strong for me as well. I think that continuing education is important, especially in social media, because it changes all the time, cannot keep up. But I have a lot of friends also that they like these jobs that require like the continuing ed, where it's like, you know, a lot of my healthcare friends have to put in 15, 20 hours of continuing education throughout the year. So on the flip side of that, theirs is required, and I kind of seek mine out. And I heard that a lot from people that we were interviewing, these, you know, and a lot of the kids that I say kids, a lot of the kids that I interviewed were 20, 21, and they were looking for ways to expand maybe what their college degree didn't cover, because a lot of, I mean, college degrees, they're wonderful and I wouldn't trade mine for anything, but it didn't prepare me for the job, like the actual work, actual taxes, actual, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that also we get caught up in like industry continuing education, where it's like, you know, something that furthers my social media or my design or something. But a lot of times it's like learning the best way to file your taxes, or the best way to claim, or the best way to go about implementing outside practices into the work, or whatever it may be. This continuing education, I think, goes beyond just the industry. And I love that about iProv. I love that we have, you know, one of our core values is like always be learning and teaching. And so you guys not only encourage me to do continuing ed, but also send me stuff a lot. Both of you have sent me stuff, I think today even. So I love that. I love going to webinars. I love so I think that's a big draw for people my age also, is that like, okay, we've completed our degree, or we didn't, and we have got this career going. And now how do we continue to grow in that career? Well, you can't without the continuing education.
So here's one thing that I've noticed is that there's a ton of curiosity, but it is, especially with people your age and younger, but it is like this really focused curiosity. And sometimes there is a lack of using that curiosity in ways that, like me, as sort of a company leader would expect. Mm-hmm. And you know, maybe that's my fault. Talk to me about that, you know, and I think you know where I'm going. I mean, like, it seems to me that there's a ton of curiosity around what you do and that sort of things. But when it comes to like, how do I get the answer to this question? It seems like there's this default ripcord mentality of we ask mom or we ask dad.
Oh yeah.
Or in this case, we ask the boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and maybe that's a shortcut. And I'm just getting played.
I think that my generation kind of had that duality of, we were raised without internet up until a certain point of like 12, 13, 14. And so it went from being like mom, dad solve everything to like you have the world's answers at your fingertips. All that to say, like, I'm really bad or good about watching YouTube videos. But like I watched 4 the other night on like carburetors and lawnmowers, and it did not help me. So I had to like be like, hey, can we talk? So I think that there's that like exhaust your resources, but I also think that there is that mentality of like mom and dad or boss or supervisor is there. There's also that weirdness of like, what if the information I'm getting online is not correct? Like, what if I'm getting fed some false narrative? And so, but I think also within the workplace, I don't know, I tend to want to ask last. Like, I want that to be my last effort. But I think that there are quite a few people my age that like their go-to, it's also goes back to teachers that like in their go-to would be like, raise your hand and ask the teacher instead of looking in the book for the answer. And I had professors that drilled it home that was like, look, the answer's in the book, just read the book. Like, so.
Well, that's a great point. And I think, I don't know, just to kind of summarize everything that you're talking about, if you're watching this and a business owner and you know you're trying to look for recruitment ideas from this on how to increase your staff and how to get some you know kind of younger energy in the company, it's not that much different than what you said on Monday, which was, you know, lead with culture and the why, and you're going to attract people that are attracted to that culture, therefore that that you don't have to sell your why because they're already there. And that's that's kind of the first step. It's not necessarily the how many zeros are in front of the comma on a paycheck, even though there's a certain threshold that's important. What's more important is this is where you're going to be spending most of your waking hours, hopefully for the next few years at least. Make sure it's an environment that those individuals want to be in. If it's not one, we'll look internally and figure out what it's going to take to make an environment like that, right?
Well, and it sounds like too that if you want your employees to be curious, don't give them easy answers.
You just set myself up for failure on that. No.
Oh, and well, hey, I love it. I hope that's good tips. Jake, thank you so much. Pat, as always, we appreciate it. Click like, follow. If you've got topics you want to hear about or questions that you have, reach out to any of us. If you want to talk to Jake, we make him readily available too. So
Don't forget to show up to office hours tomorrow.
Oh yeah, office hours. That's very important. So, all right, we've got one more installment, which we're going to dig into and pick Jake's brain about some tactical stuff. So I know all you people out there looking for how you can socially engage with all of your audience. Well, one of the advantages of having a young person that's smarter than us is Pat and I don't have to know the answers. This guy. So we're going to put Jake on the social media hot seat.
Yes.
Friday. So make sure and tune in for that. And until next time, stay young. Peace.